everyone, Nadeem here with PC.Solutions.Net. Today we're going to talk a little bit about disaster recovery policy. One of the things that we do as part of our TechRes program for customers that are subscribed to that program is create a disaster recovery / disaster response policy for these customers. This policy works hand in hand with your incident response policy. They are kind of interrelated. There are several things that you have to take into account while putting together a policy like this. One of the things that we have to do is figure out what kind of cyber insurance you have in place, because you don't want to do something that will go counter to what your cyber insurance provider requires. And I've seen this a lot of times where companies have an incident and they try to fix it. They can't fix it, and then at the end they file for insurance and their insurance claim gets denied because they didn't follow protocol that they said they would in case of a disaster. One of the things that we like to do is, if there is an incident, you want to freeze everything as it is. You don't want to start doing things and basically putting your evidence in jeopardy. Down the line, if a forensics analyst comes in and does some forensic analysis, they need to be able to figure out what's what. I've seen a few cases where the company tried to recover quickly and in the process ended up destroying evidence, which is not a good place to be in. For customers that are not in our TechRes program, we still help them out wherever we can to put together a policy like this. And what you want to do in a situation like that is, let's say you're a small business, just a few employees, and you're not in the TechRes program because you don't have a need for it, right? But you still have a need for a disaster recovery policy, incident response policy. You still have a need for all these different kinds of policies because your users need to know what to do when something happens that is not normal. The smaller you are, the sooner you have something like this in place, the easier it gets. So it's not a matter of we're not big enough so we don't need something like this. It's a matter of, can you scale if you don't have something like this in place? You need to be able to scale, and to scale, you have to have these things in place. So you can go to NIST.gov and you can get a few templates, a few samples that NIST has. Now, these are just recommendations from NIST's perspective. Go ahead and go through them, get legal to review and give you a clean bill of health. And then, customize it, make it your own. So in my experience, every business is different. You can be in the same vertical, but still the businesses can be very different from each other. You want to make sure that these policies work for you and not have a policy just as a formality, but actually use the policy to your advantage where it helps drive the business forward. For example, a lot of times I know policies help businesses scale better, scale easier. These are some of the things that you want to consider when developing your disaster recovery policy. And I know a lot of customers in the small space, this could be, like maybe 5 to 10 users. They may not have a policy, but their customers might ask or demand that they have a policy like this in place. Now, a lot of times people are thinking, oh, well, this is just a technical thing. It's not just a technical thing. It's a human thing. It's more of an HR role than it is a technology role. So we as a technology company, we can come in and we can give you a policy which will be a small fraction of what it needs to be. You still have to get other departments to go through it and add their little pieces to it. For example, who is going to be the point of contact when there is a disaster? How do you determine it is a disaster? A disaster in my mind can be completely different than disaster in your mind, right? And here in Houston, we have hurricanes, we have all kinds of stuff. So we have to have some of these policies in place. But if you're up north or in an area where natural disasters are unheard of, maybe you need to gear these policies differently to cover different areas, because what a typical disaster is in Houston may be different from a typical disaster in Washington, so on and so forth. So hopefully that will help you out devise a policy for your small business. If you need help or have questions, feel free to reach out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, email us back. This is how we learn, right? Nobody is born with all this knowledge. We all learn as we go. And this question came up earlier today. Hey, our customers are asking us for our disaster recovery policy. Can you give me something? It's like, no, I cannot just give you something. It's something that you have to put together. Now, I can help you put something like this together. We will need certain types of information. Like if you're not in our TechRes program, then we don't know what kind of cyber coverage you have. We need to know that. We don't know what kind of revenues you have. We don't know what your revenue streams are. We don't know what your customer base looks like. So there's a lot of different things that come into play. So until next time, everybody, have a great day and be safe.